So, good morning, students. So, this is Suman Bhatia, your SS teacher, and today we are going to talk on the topic of understanding law of Standard 8 Political Science. So, students, in the past few chapters of our political science, we have studied what is constitution, how the constitution was framed, what are the key features of the constitution, and how does the parliament works. And in this chapter, we are going to study what are the laws of our country and how does these laws work. So, students, the laws of our country is looking everyone with equal eyes. No one is discriminated in the eyes of the law. May it be a rich minister, a high political status person, or a common man of our country. Everybody is equal before the law. So, the laws of our country are written in the constitution, and our country runs on the laws written in the constitution. So, in our country, the first law is that everybody is equal before the law. We all know the universal adult franchise law that every citizen of our country who is above 18 years of the age is eligible to vote without any discrimination of caste, creed, sex, or any political status. We also know that in our country, the person at the age of 21 years, boys, and at the age of 18 years, girls are eligible to get married. We also know that there are many laws in our country which help us to get hold of the property of our parents or our elders. So in this way, many laws are framed, and we are going to study these laws in detail in this chapter, and we are going to understand the basics of that laws. So suppose there is a government officer. I am giving an example. Suppose there is a government officer and he helps his son into hiding because his son has committed some mistake and he has been sentenced to 10 years jail by a district court. So is that government officer doing the right thing by hiding his son? Do you think it is right? It's a right action taken by the officer? No. The government officer cannot use his political status to hide his child from the law, from the punishment, because everybody is equal before the law. So, if you see this example, this is an violation of law. The member of Constituent Assembly were agreed that there should be no arbitrary exercise of power in independent India. Therefore, several provisions in the constitution have been established and the rule of the law has been framed in our country. So everybody is equal before the law. Rich people, poor people, political high status people, a common man, an educated man, an uneducated man, everybody is equal in the eyes of the court and law. Here, the constitution cannot discriminate between the people on the basis of the religion, their caste, their gender. She is a woman, so she will not get the punishment. He is a man, so he will get the punishment. No gender discrimination, no caste discrimination, no religion discrimination. So the rule applies to every citizen equally. No one is above the law of our country. So neither a government officer nor a wealthy person nor the president of the country is above the law. Any crime or any violation of the law, and if a specific punishment is decided by the court, then that person has to hear and obey that law given by the court. So children, now we are going to understand the laws in two parts. One is pre-independent India, another is the post-independent India. Pre-independent India means when the Britishers were ruling us and we were in the colonial rule under the British rule. So during that time in ancient India, there were innumerable and often many local laws made by different people. Okay, so different communities, different society of the people, different section of the society of the people, they framed their own local laws. And what was the main problem in this thing? The people belonging to lower castes were punished very, very brutally. They were given very harsh punishment. And the same mistake when it is done by a high community people or rich person or a rich authority, then for the same mistake he has been given just a common punishment. So this was the difference in the eyes of the law in ancient India. So during the British time, we all know the story of Jallianwala Bagh. How brutally General Dyer opened fire on the unarmed people assembled for the meeting in the Jallianwala Bagh at Amritsar, Punjab. So we all know the story that thousands and thousands of people were killed and brutally they were bloodshed on the grounds of Jallianwala Bagh. We cannot forget that history. But do you know why that people have assembled in the Jallianwala Bagh? Because at that time the British had made a Rowlatt Act which allowed the British government to put any person into the jail without any trial. So the Indian nationalists, the Indian leaders like Mahatma Gandhi and many other leaders, they were trying to oppose this Rowlatt Act because this was a wrong bill passed by the government. So there was a lot of protest against this act in the year 1919, and in Punjab these people under the leadership of Satyapal and Dr. Saifuddin Kichwell, they were arrested, and they were put into the jail. So the people on 13th April, on the day of Baisakhi, they gathered in the Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar to decide in the public meeting what to do when the leaders are arrested and what to decide further for this protest. So General Dyer, he entered the park, he opened fire on the people. Several hundreds of people died in this gunfire. Today also you can see the marks of the bullets on the walls of Jallianwala Bagh. The painting here below in this picture you can see, this painting shows the troops were firing on the people in the Jallianwala Bagh. So this painting shows a scene of how brutally the people were killed in the Jallianwala Bagh. So this Rowlatt Act was a part of the Sedition Act of 1870, where the British officer, they can put anybody in jail. The historians have disputed on several grounds, and the rule of the Britishers. The rule of the Britishers during the colonial time was very, very arbitrary type. And this arbitrary act was forcing the Indian people to protest against this British government. The Indian nationalists started criticizing the government for this authority or this law which they have enforced on the people. They started fighting for greater equality and wanted to change this idea of understanding and implementing of laws. So after this Jallianwala Bagh, there was a lot of protest against this Sedition Act, and the leaders of our country were demanding respect in the society, respect in the eyes of the British government, and they wanted justice and equality in the law. So by the end of 19th century, the Indian legal profession also began emerging and demanded respect in the court during the British time. They began to use the law to defend the equal and legal rights of Indian. Indian judges also played a very important role in making decisions during that time. Therefore, several ways in which the Indian played a major role in the evolution of the rule of law during this colonial period. So many judges, many lawyers from our Indian community, they emerged during this British time. And when we were trying to fight and get the independence of our country, and after we got the independence, these were the people who kept their ideas, who kept their experience in mind and framed their laws for our country. Now, with the adoption of the constitution, when our constitution was being framed by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and his drafting committee, this document served as the foundation on which our representatives began making laws for the country. So, the constitution was the book in which all the laws are made, and these people kept in mind all the religion people, all the problems faced by the people during that time, and all their experiences, the pros and the cons of the situations, what they have seen during the British rule, and then they framed the constitution. Now, every year, our representatives pass several new laws in the parliament. They pass the bill, they discuss, they have debate on this thing, and if they get the majority of votes and most of the majority of the people agree to the bill, then the bill is passed in the Rajya Sabha, and if you get the permission of the Rajya Sabha, then it's passed to the president, and in such a way, after this process, the law is made or rectified in our country. According to this new law, succession, there is Hindu Succession Amendment Act of 2005. So there was a change made in this act also. And what was that change? Son, daughter and their mothers will get equal share of the property, of the family property, after the father's death. So similarly, new laws have been enacted to control pollution and provide employment to the people. So whenever the time is high, and whenever the government and the people, the public of the country feels that this law is not proper, or some changes should be made in this law, then the bill is passed with the majority and with the votes of the people, with the representatives in the Constituent Assembly, and the new laws are framed, and with the permission of the president, the new laws are enacted in the country. So this is the way how new laws come about, and we will discuss it more in the part 2 of our video.